Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that I'm surprised took so long for me to talk about. And no, I do believe it's the very first time ever reviewing a Disney or Pixar movie here on this channel. Actually, no, I did review Dinosaur back in 2000, I didn't review it in 2000, the movie came out in 2000, so yeah, not the first Disney movie ever, but the first Pixar one, that's for sure. And today I'm going to be talking about Monsters Inc., okay, one of my most favorite movies in the Pixar lineup, and the reason that I decided to talk about it now, and review it is because I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3, if you guys missed, in case you guys missed that. And one of the worlds that I went to was actually Monstropolis, which was one of my favorite gameplays, I have played all of the Kingdom Hearts games. I've been to a lot of different worlds, in the Pixar Disney lineup, I went to Toy Box, Toy Story could arguably be considered a much better movie than Monsters Inc., but I mean, me being the way that I am, if I reviewed the first Toy Story, I would have wanted to review all of them, which I probably will in the future, after I watch the fourth one. But the point is, Monsters Inc. is really cool, I love the concept behind it, the very idea, and the characters are very likable, very relatable, and I just think that there's a very overall really charming aesthetic to the movie, I really enjoyed it a lot, and it was released back in 2001, and right around the time that DVDs were starting to become popular, but I actually did have it on video cassette, back when I actually had it myself, and there's a lot of sentimental value in the story, it really takes me back to my childhood. Pretty much any Pixar and Disney movie does, but this one is really special, and the main characters, Mike Wazowski and John Goodman, voiced by Billy Crystal and John Goodman, they're just freaking classic. And one of my most favorite Pixar villains ever, Randall, voiced by the legendary Steve Buscemi, and a few other name actors as well who participated, and I honestly think that the movie is really it's fantastic, and the story is actually very simple to follow. We are taken to an alternative world where monsters, actually populate the earth, but however, in like a different dimension, because humans do exist, but they live in like a parallel plane of existence, and the monsters, like, you can get access to their world through the children's closets, and the idea of the monsters world, like, they build doors that lead to children's closets so they can scare them, so they can collect scream power, whenever the child screams, it powers up a little like a little canister of sorts that they can actually use for power in their cities, so it's a very threadbare concept, and we do actually find out later that laughter is much more powerful, but no, semantics, I'll get to that later. So then they run an entire business, called Monsters Inc., the corporation, where it's essentially a factory where they work a bunch of monsters to make them scare the kids and gather the scream so they can actually have energy to power up the city and whatnot, so it's really cool. It's a very unique concept that I hadn't seen present in any Disney movie before this one, so I think it was really nice. And the way that they structured it, the plot lines, the characters, the story elements, I think everything was really cool. The soundtrack, everything was awesome. And we, from the get-go, we can pretty much relate to the characters, because they're just blue-collar working-class citizens like us in real life, except they're monsters. So the entire monster world is really cute, with a lot of different aesthetics, and I really like it a lot.
All right, let's get a move on, people. We are on in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, people, Eastern Seaboard coming online.
So, the movie has a lot of really cool thematic elements, related to the Monsterverse. Wait, no, the Monsterverse is a whole different thing, isn't it? The Monsters universe, let's call it that. The Monsterverse is like the Godzilla King Kong thing. But, so, it's really strange, because sometimes they do sort of, there are a few continuity errors, like it's established that they like things that are disgusting and repulsive, like, instead of the deodorant, they use odorant, which smells crappy, that kind of thing, but they also do take showers and bathe, so it's really weird, it's strange, but it's really funny how they play around with the concept a bit, of like how everything is literally the opposite, of us in the human world. They do still drive cars, they drink coffee, although the coffee looks like mud, so they do have kind of like their own little world there, And however, there is a plot element where they viewed children as toxic, you know, so it's actually a little strange because for some reason, I don't know why exactly, but they think that human kids are poisonous, you know, they touch you and you can die, you know, and there's like this whole thing called the CDC where if you even touch anything in a child's bedroom, you know, like a toy that they've touched, you know, then the CDC comes in, they run a 2319 where they disinfect the monster, you know, so yeah, sometimes it's a little rampant, you know. However, getting into the actual plot of the movie, you know, what happens is that a little girl who they later call Boo, you know, she there's like a little plot between Randall and Mr. Waternoose, who's the boss, you know, to gather more screen from specific children so they can actually run a little underground business of sorts, you know. So then what happens is that Randall is attempting to kidnap this little girl called Boo, you know, and then Sully, he sees the door there, he goes in out of curiosity, you know, but the girl sees him and then she doesn't want to ever get away from him, you know, she calls him Kitty, you know. The girl sees a freaking 10-foot tall mountain of a monster and calls him Kitty, my god, you know. So then the hilarity begins there because he fails to put her back inside her bedroom. Randall comes to look for her, but he makes the door go back, you know, so then he has to carry the girl around all over the place until he and Mike can figure out how to get her back inside, you know, and chaos ensues, you know, they have to hide her back in his apartment, you know, and then slowly, gradually, eventually they realize that she is not only toxic, she's actually very cute and sweet, you know, they actually grow attached to her. Sully at first, you know, when he calls her Boo, and Mike famously utters the line, once you name it, you start getting attached to it, which is true. I love that line so much, man. Sully, you're not supposed to name it. Once you name it, you start getting attached to it. That line is gonna go down in history as one of the best in Disney Pixar, man. But anyway, so then they start trying to put her back in the factory, you know, and they start trying to put her back into the door, but then they disguise her, you know, they use a little couch to make her look like a little monster, you know, they bring her back into the factory, but then soon everything starts to unravel because it's really cute when she actually is unveiled at the restaurant. She leaps out of a bag and everybody goes crazy, you know, because the monsters all react to a little girl the same way we would react to a monster in a restaurant, you know, so it's really funny. But then it's all over the news, you know, there's a bunch of chaos and then they start to become wanted monsters, you know, but then they do soon find out the plot, you know, behind Waternoose and Randall and why they're after the girl, you know, and there's a little moment of tension where Sully scares Boo, you know. Sully is a model employee, you know, he is the one who puts up the best numbers, you know. At the beginning of the movie we see that they go onto the scare floor and each monster goes into a door and scares a lot of kids, you know, to see how many points they're gonna get and how many canisters they're gonna fill up. And Sully has been the employee of the month for a while, you know, which is kind of dumb because I mean apparently by the time the movie starts there's like a power shortage of sorts, you know. There's like a little crisis, a little energy crisis. So if Sully really is good as the movie makes him out to be, why not just work a few overtime shifts and help everybody get their power up, you know? It's just a little plot hole there. But anyway, so yeah, but then even though he is the model employee, he is the one who unfortunately gets twisted up in this chaos here with the girl, and unfortunately it doesn't work out too well for him and old Mikey.
The creators of Toy Story.
Good morning, fellas.
Hey, what's shaking, Bacon?
Did you lose weight or a limb?
Take you into the world behind your closet door.
Roz, you're looking fabulous today. Is that a new haircut? New makeup. You've had a lift. You've had a tuck. You've had something.
We've always been afraid monsters were there,
Scary feet, scary feet, scary feet. Oh, the kid's awake.
waiting to scare us.
So at one point the plot is finally uncovered and Mike and Sully are banished, you know, to the Himalayas where they encounter the abominable snowman who actually was a monster before, who was banished himself after doing something wrong. I forgot what it was. But anyway, so the main conflict here ensues because the monsters, they kidnap Boo and then strap her to a chair to try to forcibly suck out her scream from her, you know. And of course, through a few ex machinas here and there, Sully and Mike do eventually manage to get back, you know, and there's actually a conflict, you know, which actually leads to one of the best sequences, not only in the movie but in Pixar canon, you know, because they go into the warehouse of doors where there are millions and billions, gajillions of trillions of doors, you know, where they have to try to traverse, you know, each one with Boo to try to escape Randall. And each door, that whenever it's activated, because Boo laughs, you know, each door is activated, and when they go inside it takes them to a whole different world, you know, which is I think is really cool. I think it's a very interesting concept that they played around with, you know. So It was really enjoyable in that department as well, and I do believe that there is a lot of tension. You know, they go from door to door, which I actually had fun doing in Kingdom Hearts 3 as well. You know, so then they try to keep Boo away from Randall, but eventually she is caught, of course. You know, and then Sully is almost falls to his death because Randall is trying to step on his fingers while he's holding on. But then she loses her fear of him. She was always afraid of Randall because he was the monster that most scared her. You know, and then she loses her fear and starts whacking him with a bunch of stuff in the room. You know, then eventually they do prevail. Sully gets a hold of him, you know, and then at the end they actually end up throwing him into a door, you know, in a trailer where he gets pummeled with a shovel, you know, and it's really nice. It's a good comeuppance, you know. It's not as dark as other endings where the villains die. It's not really implied that Randall dies, but I mean he could get away from there, but it is still satisfying to see him getting walloped with a shovel. And then Waternoose is arrested after they make a little ploy, you know, to make the CDA catch him in the act, you know, so it's really cool. And then it's nice because they actually find out that Roz, one of their coworkers who works with the paperwork, you know, kind of like the floor manager of sorts, you know, she was actually in on it. She's part of the CDA, #1, I believe her rank was, you know. So then we find out that there was a whole infiltration system there, but unfortunately Sully is no longer allowed to see Boo. He has to put her back and they have to shred her doors. So I don't understand why, you know. It's really unfair because I mean you could have just let the guy see her a few times, you know. But I do think that the movie has a lot of really cool elements that build up to this, you know, because we see the attachment, you know, that they have to Sully and Boo. Even Mike warms up to her, you know. They really like each other, but then they eventually can't, you know, see each other anymore. But yeah, it's fine. But I think that the nuance of the storytelling, you know, the elements were really well crafted, you know, especially towards this scene here, because it really pulls on the feels, man. You know, we really feel sympathy for these characters. You know, we want them to stay together, you know, despite everything else that's going on. So yeah, that really it really saddened me. To this day, it's a really sad scene for me.
If a kid ever got through one of our doors, the results would be catastrophic.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
Kitty! That thing is a killing machine!
a Pixar Animation Studios film.
Alright, so here's the thing. There is a very touching moment, you know, after the movie, not after it ends, before it ends, you know. Now everything is a little different, you know, because Waternoose was arrested and Sully became the new manager of the power plant, you know, and now they have come to realize that because with their experiences with Boo, that laughter is much more powerful than scream. I think about 10 times as powerful. So now the monsters, like the factory has become a comedy club where now instead of scaring the kids, the monsters are making them laugh, you know. So it's a very happy ending, you know, as Disney and Pixar tends to do. And it's nice because there is a very surprising moment that I didn't expect, you know, when I watched it for the first time as a kid, where Mike actually painstakingly went through the woodworks after the door was shredded and actually rebuilt it piece by painful piece, the door with Boo, you know. But there was still one little piece left that Sully kept with him at all times, you know, in his notebook. And then when he put that final piece into the door, the light actually turned on, you know. Now, it was not established how long it was after this, you know, like how many years after the main events of the movie this was, but I can imagine it was quite a while in the future, you know, maybe a few years down the line. And then now the door turns on. Tully. Oh my god. Sully opens it slowly and goes inside. He does call out Boo and he hears her name. He hears her call Sully. We see her saying kill. What is wrong with me? The movie freaking messes with my head. Sully opens the damn door and then we hear Boo say Kitty, you know, but in a little bit of a deeper voice, you know, implying that she might be a little bit older than the last time, you know, they saw each other. And his smile was just crazy, man. I'm almost crying now because I love that scene so much, you know. But of course, oh my god. It's like it's the perfect ending to a movie, but at the same time it's not, because I wanted to see more. I wanted to see how that scene was gonna play out, man, their relationship with each other, you know. And like there was a sequel later called Monsters University, but it was a prequel, so it was good, but it sucked because I wanted to see more. I wanted to at least get like a short showing them together when she was older, you know, because how exactly is this gonna happen? Pixar really leaves a lot to speculate with their cliffhanger endings, man, you know, because it's so ambiguous. Like does Sully keep visiting her year after year, you know, as she gets older and starts to maybe, I don't know, get tired of him or something? Or like, does she eventually go crazy trying to tell her friends and family that there's a monster who comes to her room every night to talk to her, you know? Like, it's really strange, man. It opens up this huge can of worms, you know, of questions, but it's still a very good movie, so I'm not gonna get nitpicky about that. But anyway, here's the thing. I'm gonna get this right off the bat. If I could give this movie a rating, it would be a 10 out of 10, you know, you can't even argue with that. You know, a perfect 10 out of 10. I love it so much, one of my favorite movies ever, because everything was amazing, you know, the storytelling elements, the character development, you know, the soundtrack, and the storytelling nuance itself, the way that they structured the story, everything was very well paced, you know, nothing was too rushed, nothing was too slow, everything was perfect to me in my opinion, you know. So, and I have come to really love these characters. I love Monsters Inc., you know, and playing in Kingdom Hearts 3, going to that world for the first time was just amazing, you know, talking to the characters. I fanboy so hard when I play this game, dude, when I go to these worlds and see the characters that I like so much, you know. So yeah, that's the way that I just the way that I structure the nuances of the, I don't know, man. I just really like it so much. I really love it, guys, and I hope you guys do as well, you know. Everything was great about the movie, you know, the themes with the monster world, you know, the way that they pretty much make an exact eclipse of the human world, you know, I think was really cool. So I really hope you guys also like that movie too, okay? Now here's the thing, guys, I'm going to be reviewing many more Disney and Pixar movies now, you know, because I don't know why it took so long to do this, you know, but I'm going to be doing more of them. I'm going to be doing the ones that I like the most, you know, the ones that I don't like too much, you know, but they're still in the canon, you know. So, and I will be doing sequences, like if a Pixar movie has a sequel, then I will be reviewing all of them in one go, like I did with The Conjuring some time ago. So yeah, and if you guys like this movie, then shout out in the comments below telling me, you know, give me a little thumbs up or a star or a happy emoji or something, you know. And if you like my review, then give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel, because I release videos every single day, okay? And hey, while you're at it, go ahead and hit the notification bell to know exactly when I upload, because I do it completely at random, okay? So it's all good, guys. Subscribe today to become a dude or a dudette. I love y'all, alright? So yeah, this is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.
We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of a human child.
Let's keep it. I always wanted a pet. That can tell me! What are you doing?
Monsters Incorporated.
It's a musical. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me, and cut.